I'm seeing a lot of lined paper, like notebook paper, 3-hole punch notebook. It feels very academic. Um, it's giving the vibe of like back to school. Like when you go to, I remember doing this as a kid, we'd like go to Staples and like buy like all these different supplies. It feels like on one hand, stocking up, like getting organized, um, not even just getting prepared, but it's about collecting the different tools that you know you're going to need. It's not like in case of emergency. It's like you know you're going to need this stuff or this mindset or whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily need to be physical items, but the first thing that was coming in was like a lined notebook paper. So I'm going to see if this will point us to a particular area of life. If you happen to know at any point while I'm talking what this may be speaking to, just let me know in the chat and I can kind of pivot and zero in. Makes sense. Okay. Do you identify at all as being a teacher or mentor to anyone? Whether in the literal profession or just in the relationships that you have that you tend to be. I just keep getting like mentor stuff. Role model, but in the sense of like actively supporting other people. I can be in relationships. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting drawn to like friendships in particular. So not like a romantic partnership with anyone, but things in your circle, your community. People always gravitate towards me. Okay. So connecting with a network of people and a focus on giving and receiving in a way that feels more balanced. And it does feel like from that mentor piece, you have knowledge and you have experience and gifts and things that are totally worth sharing. And it makes sense that people come to you for that. I know what you mean, actually, when you say do something different than I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah, it's just there's nothing quote unquote wrong. Like it's great to have people come to you. It's great to be that support, but there's something about shifting, not exactly boundaries, but shifting the dynamic, like how you are in certain situations. So I think that some of this volunteer work, as an example, is a way of signaling again to universe how you're spending your time and how you are positioning yourself differently in relation to other people versus continuing whatever a pattern is. And it's not that the pattern is super toxic or horrible for you, but it feels like putting yourself in some different situations where the power dynamic is a little bit different, where the team aspect is different versus the individual being centered, that it could illuminate something. It feels like a light bulb could kind of go off in how you are. I'm getting in how you are receiving people in. I think it's interesting because my mind is going to, oh, well, aren't we just talking about boundaries? But it doesn't exactly feel like we're talking about boundaries. It doesn't feel like your boundaries are not reinforced in some capacity, that you have no boundaries at all. It's not what's coming through, but it's more of the scale being tipped. How are you giving and receiving? Okay, I'm glad you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes this happens in readings where I get things that feel to my brain as I'm saying them. I'm like, this is a metaphor. I really hope you know what I'm talking about because, like as an example, I've done readings for people before where the whole time I was talking to them about their career and I had no idea what their job was and it didn't matter because the whole time they were just like, oh my gosh, yes, like whatever, like I know what you're saying. So I don't technically, as the vessel for the information, need to know. It doesn't actually matter as long as it makes sense to you. But I just laugh because I'm just like, I don't even really know what I'm talking about, but I know I'm supposed to say it like this and it will resonate and you'll get it. So I'm glad you were following. It just may feel very cryptic for the listeners who don't know what's going on with you, but you also do not have to share. Is totally fine. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else kind of on this theme here before I flip over your card. Okay, I'm seeing you now like putting a gigantic scarf around your neck, like you're wrapping it like over and over and over and over, around and around. Feels like it's about being bundled, and I'm asking, is it about boundaries? No, it's still not about boundaries. It's not about boundaries. Is it about being warm? Is it about being cozy? Is it about being comfortable? Not exactly. Kind of, but not exactly. It's like what whatever it is, I know I'm tiptoeing around it. I just personally don't know what this is referring to. So I hope that you you are still with me. So it's this idea of bundling, whatever that is. I don't know if this is translating to work. I don't know if this is translating into more of what we've been talking about socially and how you're spending your time. But I just keep seeing it as an exchange. There's just an exchange going on. What's the giving? What's the receiving? What's the dynamic, the power dynamic? And how can you make sure that you are getting more of what you need and less of what you are giving out? Because it feels like there's a potential for draining. Because if you are always in a state of giving, this is a classic. Anybody who is a giver, caretaker, nurturer, you can run your tank empty by being in that giving mode all the time. Even if we say to ourselves, oh, well, I like helping people and it fills my cup. Well, sometimes if you do that all the time, then you're operating from a barely filled cup and it's like it just is going in and out and it's never actually getting filled all the way to the top. I need to start protecting my energy because I've been starting to get back into using my abilities. Ooh, abilities. I've been giving myself a lot to people because my default, I'm a huge helper, but I don't feel, oh my gosh, fill my cup back up. Okay, just what I was talking about. Yeah, so I think that that's what this scarf is referring to. So normally if we're talking about filling cup, I would just get that visual, but the protection piece, oh, yes, okay, as I'm saying it, the protection piece. What we were wrapping was your throat. So it's your voice, throat chakra. We got all that in there. The power that is coming from using your voice, wielding your voice. People already want to hear what you have to say. They're already coming to you. So weighing how are you using it? Are you overusing it? Are you overexerting your voice because people want to hear from you? I've been feeling a call to go within again, realign and move forward differently while not shutting down completely. Yeah, it feels like when you're wrapping your throat up, it's like you are giving yourself a little bit of vocal rest in a way. I know that doesn't actually stop you from talking. You can still speak when you have a scarf around your neck, but it's like a little bit of a barrier. Not boundary, but a barrier specifically to your voice, what you are saying. And if you know your truth, if you're reconnecting with what you have to say and what you value and what you think is important and not just only advising and supporting other people all the time, then what you say has more clarity and is different. I got the scarf, made me giggle. Okay, I'm so glad you know what I'm talking about. Your card is first quarter moon in Pisces. Honor your feelings. So whatever's coming out through this process, honor that. Allow it to come through. Doesn't have to overtake you. You can feel your feelings without them swallowing you whole. But recognizing that that is part of the process. So if you feel any discomfort, as an example, with quote unquote turning people away because you're like, sorry, I'm on vocal rest. The shop is closed for giving advice for the next 8 days. That's very specific, but apparently next 8 days. So if you're saying, all right, I am doing that, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, honoring that, sitting with that, allowing it yourself to hold space for how you were feeling, not judging yourself for whatever is coming through, whatever is coming up. First quarter moon in Pisces, honor your feelings. Okay. You're very welcome. And I am glad it made sense because I don't know what this reading was. Which is fun for me. I can be entertained by it because I'm just like, I don't know what we're talking about, but you know exactly what I'm saying. And that's why it is so interesting to be a channel for people, because it's not about me. I am here giving the reading because it is fully about you. So whatever I'm saying, it's in a way that you will understand the images, the specific wording, whatever, and then you can do with that what you will. Exactly what I need to hear validated, a lot of stuff I was thinking about. So wonderful. I am glad that you on a whim decided to join today. And yeah, let me know. I always say my chat is open. If you ever want to give me updates, I had somebody message me the other day about a reading I did in a previous week, like, oh my gosh, you were so right about blah, blah, blah. You can message me on Insight Timer. Let me know updates. I'll remember what I can remember because some of it, again, it's a channel and it drops out. And if I'm reading enough people, I'm like, I can't possibly memorize everybody's readings, but usually something will come back to me and I'll kind of remember. Or if you ever want to circle back, and as I mentioned earlier, if anybody is interested in working one-on-one, whether I provide a reading for you here or not, I do 60-minute readings through my website.